G'day everybody. How are we all? I am just in Tanunda, so this town is about 5 minutes from my house, maybe 10. There's a couple of towns that are closer, but this is the only one in the whole of the Barossa that has a pharmacy that's open on Sunday. So had to go for a drive, but it's a lovely little town. I used to work here in a couple of different restaurants. This is where a lot of the nice restaurants are scattered around. This is a really busy bit when the tourists get going. The tour down under, the cycling thing, they always come through here, always come through this main street. And there's lots and lots of wineries, lots and lots of restaurants, and they're all basically for the tourist trade, because you know there's only 35,000 people, or maybe 40,000 people in the whole of the Barossa. It's not very big, and while it is down the road from Adelaide, that's where all the tourists come from. So, you know, Adelaide's got 1.5 million people in it, and a lot of them come out here just for a weekend, you know, come to the restaurants and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a nice place. It's a nice place. I prefer Anguston, up where I live, but it's a lot quieter, a lot smaller than this little town. I'm just looking for a road now to take me up and show you some wineries, because there's a bucket load of them around here. Every single sign's got a grape picture on it, basically. Let's go this way. Let's see what's up this road. What have we got? We've got Rusden Wines, Calabria Family Wines, and Maverick Wines, and we've got a push bikeist. Villain. So yeah, Tanunda. This is probably another town that's built around about 1850s. I think this was built a little bit after Neri, and it would have just been purely a wine town. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other stuff here. There's a bit of industry and that sort of thing. So I'll turn you off for a second till we get to something interesting. I suspected this might happen, putting all that green in. It was up to about 85 degrees. That's very, very steamy. I'm just going to give it a turn, try and cool it down a little bit. But yeah, way too hot, way too hot. Oh. Uh-oh. Stop, you bastard. Stop. No. It's not stopping. That's after the turn. I'll probably have to come back and turn it again, the servo. It's nice to have this machine, but yeah, gee, that is the hottest I've ever got compost, pretty much. And that's after a turn. I did a whole video on this and forgot to turn my microphone on. What I've done, I was talking about tricks that I had up my sleeve. Now, I pretty much knew this was going to happen given we put all that grass in there. I've talked about not getting compost too hot. It's not good for it. So what we've done, I'm going to pull it out. So this is I saw this on look at the steam coming off it. I saw this on a video. It's called the Johnson Sue method. Now, this isn't the exact right way to do it. Usually it's done with like a wide bin with lots of leaf and green and the really soft stuff, so it gets really hot, and they've basically got to extract the heat out of it, which is what I plan to do with this one, because I don't want to turn it every day. That will break fungal pathways and things like that, which I want to be in there. I need the fungus because it's a lot of wood chip. So you can see there's holes all over it. I've drilled up about halfway up, and we stick that in the pile, and hopefully that'll help control the temperature. There we go. We'll leave one hole at the top exposed, and then that one, and then you watch when we come back later, there'll be steam coming out of that. It's the Brendo Sue compost method. All right, we've been going fairly consistently. It's Sunday, so we're definitely running at a slower clip than usual. Only had to make one tour to the hardware shop, which is unusual for me. Normally I run out of everything. So let's have a look at what we got. It's strong. I think I can nearly get it finished tonight, because essentially all I've got to do is chop a heap of these. These are 2400 by 50 sleepers or 200 mil, and I've just got to chop a heap more of them up. I've got about 13 of them in the ute. It's only going to go to 1200. These are 1500 poles. So Grant, you wondered how tall I was. 173 centimeters, or about 5'9". So not a massive man, not by any stretch. So we will get all these in, and then tomorrow I'm going to move that compost in here, and it's going to be magnificent. The other thing I'm thinking now is I'm going to put a gate, or two gates, one to there, one to there, one to there, one to there, and so that way I can have 4 square sides. So I got 1, 2, 3. This one was always going to be a little bit like that because the digger was going in, but if I could close that off and just do the last little bit with the digger and, like tip it in like that, then I could have 4 square sides. And as we know, square sides help the heat. But as you saw today, heat's not a massive problem for me, given I get so much grass. So these, I'm going to make about 5 more of those tubes that I showed you, and these, and probably not the ones behind you, because we're going to have exactly the same setup back there behind you. But these ones here will probably have to have a little bit of heat regulation, I would imagine. By heat regulation, I just mean put 1 or 2 or 3 of those PVC pipes with all the holes driven in them, the Johnson Sue method. So that will almost be an actual proper Johnson Sue method if I do it like that. So it's really strong. Got to think that this is going to be filled with 50 mil sleepers. So yeah, it's good. Good. Hey, one thing. There's quite a big gap over the back here. There's quite big gaps over here, because when I got this sort of dug out, I didn't really know what I was doing. But the good thing is, only the bottom ones of these, only that one there, is in. So every now and again, I can come in here and I think this is going to be my carbon bank. So all that stuff, all that brown stuff that I've got there, I'm going to put it in here and probably use it for my potting mix and things like that. So keep it fairly sterile, keep it fairly carbon rich, not a lot of nutrients, although I imagine a bit will get knocked in from a compost, which is not a bad thing. And yeah, then I'll have stuff to fill in my pots and raised beds and things with, because that's my number one objection to raised bed gardening, actually. It's not that I don't think it works. I do think it works. I think it's actually probably the best way you can garden, because you've got full control over the soil and stuff like that. It's the cost that, it just costs a lot of money, like you got to buy the bed, you got to build the bed, and then you got to fill it up with that soil, and nobody's got access to that amount of soil. Well, nobody except for me soon, but you've seen how much time and effort I've had put into being able to create soil, which is what I'm doing, and that's what my passion is. So this is the start. We're going to have 4 of these. We've got to find a spot for another big one. Not sure where that's going to be, but the big one will be for stuff that I can't chip. So basically we'll move Big Bessie from down in the front yard, we'll move her up here, and then we'll have 4 bins, a large bin for that sort of stuff, a really slow cold compost style thing, and we'll have the worm wedge, and that worm wedge will obviously run along the whole left-hand side of that shed once I get it all cleaned up. So it's actually pretty hard to use the machine in there at the moment because you can't move it very far. You can sort of move it there to there. That's all you can do. Whereas if I had that other side of the shed, I'd be able to come at it from different angles. And then once we get that worm wedge going, worm weld, as somebody called it, then I'll just be able to, so say imagine we've got the worm wedge there, I'll just be able to come in and take the back of that wedge, lift it up with a digger, put it in a bag, deliver it to the customer, or, just lift it up with a digger and take it down there and put it in the garden, which for the first year or so, I would imagine is what's going to happen. So Grace is getting better. Grace is getting better. She did get a bit excited about a chicken earlier, but not too excited. So we're making progress. There's a fence there. All right, guys, I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to see if I can get it finished tonight. We've got about an hour left of sunlight, proper sunlight. It's starting to get pretty cold now, so I might have to go put a jumper on. But I hope you guys had a wonderful day, wonderful Sunday, a lekker week, and I will break my machine. Bye now.